Yo. So this video is about the severe tornado outbreak that occurred this morning, last night, this weekend, across from Texas, here in Texas, all the way to like Nebraska, and I believe there's tornadoes elsewhere, but between that, so in Oklahoma specifically, also, as well, there was multiple tornadoes, like large, damaging. In fact, the biggest in of the year in and most fatal in China, which I've recently made a video about the extreme weather. This would be a part of that extreme weather. As well, in that video, I mentioned Brazil, and there was tornadoes in Brazil. And about that, my point with this is that I'm being harassed and messed with by Alessandra Ambrosio and her daughter and their whole family. But I've been, showing this whole thing where it's either they're friendly to me or they're not. They're pretending. What I get is they're pretending to be friendly to me. They're not. In any instance, why people with tons of money and wealth and resources and social proofing and all sorts of stuff that would say they're high value according to our society, why they're all looking at me and making points to me and honestly being psychologically abusive and evil, rapey people towards me it's not beyond me. I mean, I think I'm the guy conquering at the seven churches of Asia, which is like pulling the sword out of the stone in from the story of pulling the sword in the stone. It's like me conquering, me being victorious at the seven churches of Asia in the book of Revelation, which are seven if then conditional statements. If you do those, you get the things, and the gifts end up culminating with you get to be King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And I started this process. Well, I can show on my Twitter, I said it very just outright 2,520 days ago. That's 7 years ago, almost exactly. And it's still going on that something is being used to attack me in ways at my sexuality, which is wrong. And it's been going on since I was a child, but it's me having to manifest it out into the light is this is what's happening. So when I'm saying this, I know you're all watching and have made a game out of using Alessandra and Anja Ambrosio to hurt and abuse me. It's hurting me and my family. The thing that I'm talking about with my leg, where it feels like something is ripping my leg open. And hey, the guy in Revelation 19, the one that's conquered at the seven churches of Asia, has something wrong with his leg and has or it says he has the name Lord of Lords, King of Kings, or King of Kings, Lord of Lords written on the thigh. And it's the same thing from Genesis 32 that talks about a strike on the thigh, like, hey, there's a way you can attack someone internally, or you can attack someone from distance. And it seems to indicate, based on what the words are saying in Hebrew, it's through some sort of sexual means. Um, and I believe it talks about rotting. It's a form of execution. Dislocation is a specific term that's brought up. You can watch my other videos on this, but um, or I even bring it up in one of my mixes. But that Proverbs 12:4 speaks about it being that you're a wife that's virtuous or righteous is a crown to her husband, but a wife that disappoints or a woman that disappoints or delays or ashames is a rot. And I believe Alessandra and Anja Ambrosio are being used to rot me internally, and it's crippling me. And it's been something has been used against me in this capacity since I was a child. And I can show at least the visual evidence of the pictures of me, and I can tell you my anecdotal what's gone on with me. But at the same time, recently my mom has said something's going on with her and her leg, and it's been going on for years, specifically about a little 10 or a little more years. And my dad has a similar issue on him that's mirrored to my mom and I. And I think it's that something is attacking me, and we're linked as a family, and it's affecting them as well. And part of this story has been only a couple weeks ago. I went through some issue where, like, I had the symptoms of what my dad generally calls malaria, like where I'm freezing cold and I can't warm up despite all the like the heat's on. I'm wearing as much clothing as I possibly, multiple hoodies, multiple pairs of socks, multiple sweatpants, shirts. Like there, I can't heat up. I'm just freezing, and it's like it feels like death. I tell my dad, hey, I think that's a form of spiritual attack that happens to you. And then that night he starts experiencing those symptoms, and it has affected him. Since then he has not been the same. And he's only barely now coming back into what he was. It's hurting me and my family. And it is absolutely happening through Alessandra Ambrosio. And Alessandra has used Anja Ambrosio in order to keep this going. As I've shown in my videos on my YouTube, go look up the one where it's like, just go through my channel. Alessandra and Anja Ambrosio, are they a trap or my dogs? I have to make this into something where it's like, where I make light of it, because it is something that should not be. It's a way to make it less heavy. And like it looks to me like very clearly Anja Ambrosio is playing into it with her profile picture being a dog and everything. So pretending that this shit isn't happening at a certain point just needs to end. Like it's hurting me, and my whole point with this is Yahweh is hurting all sorts of people because they aren't being forced to come and engage what I'm saying. They don't have to, like, what they need to be forced to do is come and talk on camera about what's going on. Why are they doing this? Who is using them? And we'll get into that later, because I believe someone is using compromising material on Alessandra Ambrosio. My guess is someone has been using compromising material like sex tapes or child porn of Anja and or Noah, her children, to manipulate Alessandra into being an evil rapist of a woman. And then the other stuff is me making light of it. So either they're friendly to me, and this is just me being friendly or whatever, or this is me clowning people from a distance who are actively participating with these other, like, why celebrities are looking at me and trying to hurt me. I mean, I don't think it's beyond me, but it's just very evidently happening now. There's enough evidence. It's not even circumstantial. There's no way that there would be a pattern over this long a time. The probability is zero, zero, that there would be these people specifically over this long a period of time, specifically aimed at me doing this kind of stuff. So, if it looks like I'm being very friendly towards them, well, I'm trying to be. I think that's the whole point, is they've been used in a way where they're connected to me, because they are, and they're being used in a way to disempower and hurt me. And again, it's hurting my family. So any bit of me taking action or saying that something extreme or something that sounds evil, like, honestly, it sounds pretty extreme when I say, I want whoever is using Alessandra and Anja as rape traps against me. I don't use that word lightly. This is something that I can't stop. If they've connected themselves to me like a parasite. If they aren't a parasite, why aren't they here? They aren't here because they're a parasite. They've attached that, or something is using them in that capacity. I don't know why. It's very obvious to me that the government or something something the public is aware that this is going on, and has made a game out of abusing me through these people. And it's hurting everybody. The whole point of this, when I'm talking about, I'm clearly in love with them, but they're just evil rapists, and I want this abuse to end. It's making me sick. I mean, literally the other day I was feeling like sick to my stomach about it. And, that's when all the tornadic stuff started happening in Nebraska, actually. I hope there's an extreme outbreak of EF5 tornadoes to prove that this is not just pissing me off, but that it's pissing Yahweh off. That it's pissing off Yahweh. God, the God of Jesus, the Father of Jesus, and who Jesus claims to be. Jesus doesn't claim to be Allah. Jesus doesn't claim to be Shiva or Vishnu or Brahma or Lord Vader or whatever other Lord you want to call, or anything that is called deity. Jesus is claiming to be Yahweh, and this is pissing him off, right? The reason I say that is, very clearly, there was an extreme tornado outbreak this weekend. After I said it, I believe the National Weather Service issued more. There's over 100 tornado warnings. I believe this weekend, in the least, what it was saying, it sounds like in one of these things that I've posted here. So I'll show this real fast. We go to my Discord here that I run, or at this point I was sharing it with somebody, but he no longer really posting it. I'm thinking he's done something evil. Hey, Iran something. Anyway, um just a bit distracted here. So, hey, this tornado outbreak has happened, and it happened after I said that there would be a tornado outbreak, right? You can see up at the top there, this very clearly says the time that I made this note, right? And I made it as part of a series, and it's not as if this is the first time I've said something, and it's not as if this is the first thing that's happened. This is just very clearly, I say it, and then within the day, it happens, right? Are they EF5 tornadoes? They haven't come back with the ratings, but I don't even trust the ratings because based on the information that I can see, like when what I can see in here, as far as first of all how big they are, right? How big these are, and how high the stuff was lofted. You can see stuff 20,000 plus. It looks like 25,000 plus feet into the air. That's large tornado. That's what I'm getting at. As well, that's what this is showing is how high, right? This stuff is lofted up into the air. And then also you can see this is an evening that will be remembered for. Wait, can you see this? Oh no, you can't. Hold on. Whoopsie. Here. So this is what I was saying. This is how high this stuff is lofted into the air, right? 30,000 feet, it looks like. You can see stuff about 30,000 feet. I mean, you can see some stuff higher, but you see a significant mass about 25,000 feet up in the air. I just got a message. It says, "It's been a long time since you and I met. How are you, dear?" I don't know who this is. Uh, and I'm not going to look at. Oh, hold on. I don't get a lot of messages, honestly. So it's strange to me that I'll leave it on this actually. Strange to me that I would get any message like that. Yeah, I don't have this number saved in my phone. It's an 812 area code. I don't even know what that area code is. But okay. Let's go back here. You have actually, let's see. Indiana. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know people from Indiana. So, I mean, not that live in Indiana. So we'll see. We'll see who this is. I think it's just, again, I'm being watched and someone's trying to make a point to me, which my suggestion is you don't. Yahweh is hurting all sorts of people to get you to stop, and he's hurting the people you love most, for sure, to get you to stop. This is wrong. This is evil. It's evil that it's been made into a public spectacle. All of you should feel terrible. You should feel sick to your stomachs because this is killing humanity. This is killing the fact that you've made a public spectacle of abusing my life away from me should make you feel fucking terrible. It represents an evil that is a problem for everybody. And the fact that they're doing it to me and Yahweh is saying, no more. That should tell you, stop. Are you kidding me? This is Mia. Why do you forget my work number? And I just said, Mia, who do you think I am? Here, you can even see. And there's the number. So, to this person. Again, it's not, I don't get very many messages, so this to me seems very deliberate. Um it's not as if it's not obvious from the videos that I've done even recently where you can see like uh these kind of the YouTube wizards and witches and spiritists and shit. Even I'll even say this: a number of the YouTube wizards and shit very clearly seem to be saying to the people like Beyonce and to these idiots who are fucking with me, "Hey, people are gonna go to jail over this." When they're doing their divination and tarot and shit, it seems like even the wizards are like, no, y'all really fucked up on this one. I think that's Yahweh, right? I think that's the dude conquering at the seven church. If he's not Yahweh now, he's gonna be Yahweh. Do you like? But I don't. Yeah, I think it works as he who is, he who was, he who will be. The J, the Yod. So to all these knockoffs, J's, congrats. You really pulled yourself out. Oh, hey, look. You are my friend Emily. No. Anyway, okay. Again, I don't get stuff like this. I feel like with my phone specifically, stuff that has to be allowed into me, right? And so, this is something trying to make some kind of point. I feel like a long time ago, I entered a coven of witches or something, right? And like they can't beat me because Yahweh is more powerful than all their magic. Jesus is outclasses them, outranks them, outclasses them. No amount of being a witch is gonna beat Jesus or Yahweh. No amount of being a witch is gonna beat Jesus. Definitely not Yahweh, right? And at this point, it doesn't even look like it's affecting Matthew Ray Wilkins very well, does it? No, not really. It's just pissing me off, and Yahweh's striking out at y'all in ways which are like whatever hiding y'all are trying to do, like it's gonna be brought out into the open. The fact that I reposted this and shortened it, I tried to make it into a YouTube short so that I could just do it. It's very clear. You can go watch my videos. There's enough storm videos where I've done where it's very clear the storm is reacting to me. I think it's not what I think it is. It's Yahweh and the power of Yahweh, and he's showing that he has control over all this stuff, and that he makes points in agreement with what I'm doing, like the prophets of old, because in Revelation it says it's the spirit of prophecy, right? And I truly believe in Jesus. I truly believe in Yahweh. This should give you really obvious, because this is just like a short clip, but you can go through my videos. I have a compilation of instances that look like this. And, I mean, it's just very clear. I mean, it's not as if... And it's been going on for years, too. Years. I have videos going back in the least 6, 7, 8 years that show stuff like this. Just the more recent ones, I've made it into a literal lightning lab. But, okay. So that should also show with this stuff that's going on with the weather, the tornadoes and stuff. Even Matthew Ray Wilkins, even I seem to be able to affect it to some degree. 100% surely Yahweh controls it. Does that make sense? It is something only God controls. And not like a knockoff like Allah, but, Allah is just a title of Yahweh. And, they stole... It's like some people trying to steal the power of Yahweh. I think it's a bunch of witches and wizards and they lost their fucking minds. But anyway, that's a different story for a different day. What is the story for today is the story where it seems like I can't get people to stop using Alessandra and Anja Ambrosio to harass and hurt me and cause me mental distress and anguish. For whatever, like, why? Well, because I think I caught a bunch of wealthy people doing evil shit, like what's going on with P. Diddy, except, oh, hey, Beyonce and Jay-Z are doing maybe worse. And maybe the whole point is it seems like they've done it like I'm saying here, in a way to taunt and mock me, where it's very clear. Just go watch this video. I mean, I lay it all out on my channel. The videos are very long. You know, what else are you going to be watching? If this is going on, what else are you going to be watching that's more important than this? Nothing, right? There's nothing. The guy developing the powers of deity and or in the least developing superpowers or having superpowers. The guy who's seemingly being watched by all like you're watching all these celebrities, they're all watching me, right? So that would indicate something's going on with me that's more important to these celebrities than whatever the fuck. And what I would say is a lot of them are just bought off and used as tools by powerful groups of people. And that seems very evident to me as to what's going on. So anyway, it is frustrating. But okay. So like go back to this. We'll pull this up, and I just want to, this is what I was saying with this. This stuff is lofted. I mean, this just seems like someone who wants to be on the thing. Hey, congrats, you're on the thing. Whatever is allowing this kind of stuff where it's like, I don't get, again, nobody sends me stuff like this. I don't normally get stuff like this. The fact that it's happening as I'm speaking about this, y'all should be fucking ashamed of yourselves. Like, one of the things is the news. The news, y'all should feel terrible. You are not the news. You aren't journalists. You're just a bunch of people participating in this game of abuse that's been going on for years. It's fucking killing my family. It's hurting me. It's hurting my family. And so Yahweh's taking it out on you guys. Or, the general public or whatever. I mean, I'm just tired of this shit. But I'm going to keep, like, part of this is, well, it seems to be like they want to make it a game, and it's become a game of endurance. You know what I mean? It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And I believe I can outlast these people. I think with the power of Yahweh, I can outlast all these people being on the throne. Jay-Z and Kanye West want to talk about watch the throne. Well, they're watching me. Me on the throne of Yahweh. The throne that they don't get to be on, that they're jealous of or something. And so they're using these women. I think they're, again, just gay dudes. Using these women, their wives, as abusive, whatever. It's much like what's going on with Travis Scott and Kylie Jenner. That they had their daughter like immediately after Kylie Jenner hit my Instagram back in like 2017 or 18, 2017 or 18, one of those. Like within like, it was a very short time afterwards. Same thing with Emily Imrata, which is like, is this talking about this whole Emily thing on here? I don't know. This is the kind of thing is I feel like I'm in a box and people from a distance are able to mentally harass and distress me, much like it says in the book of Daniel, much like it seems to suggest in the book of Revelation, which is just a further explanation of what's going on in the book of Daniel, that there's some kind of court case which will be decided in my favor. There's no way it won't be. It's decided in the favor of Yahweh and the saints of the Most High, the Ancient of Days and the one like a son of man. At this point, right here. It's so I'm like over this. I'm so tired of it. And so you have, you can see this stuff where here it's like stuff being lofted high up in the air, and then this is an evening that will be remembered for a long time. Some towns have been or will be hit multiple times by large, powerful tornadoes. Some towns have been impacted by 5 supercells, a narrow corridor of cells surfing the low-level jet, extreme local impacts. And like this last one is just this person did this was on someone's on someone's Twitter. They did a estimation based on the height of the debris. They're saying it's 26,000 feet, right? And they think they put in their rotational velocity average, and it seems to be rated EF4+. And I'll say this. I've seen enough times where specifically the USGS lies about what a earthquake is because they don't want to, because it's political. They don't. It's not an objective reality what the USGS says. If they wanted to be an objective reality, they could have an AI do it, a machine learning AI that tries to spit out an objective number. They don't do that. These numbers are reviewed. I literally have seen things where it's like obviously not what they are saying it is, and they also specifically don't cover certain things. Why? Because they want to avoid panicking people. That would be the easiest way of saying it, but they also want to avoid, if there's a dude in Houston who seems to be connected to the earthquakes and earthquake activity, they don't want to be empowering what I'm saying. People in positions of power don't want to be empowering what I'm saying. Why? Because then they don't have power. If I'm a dude on the throne and I'm the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, because of what I've gone through and what it says in the book of Revelation at the second and third church, I mean, at the second and third chapters, which are the seven churches of Asia, it is very clear to me that you know, they wouldn't want to, they would want to do everything in their power to disempower me, right? Which involves using women specifically to cut me off at my sexuality. And then so what my, like, I want a virgin wife. Why? Because women's sexual history hurts me. And to show that this is not just something that's going on with me. By the way, I'm pretty sure Asora, who went to UT Dallas and who's like in the dubstep scene, I think he's like an industry plant, and I think he's secretly a gay dude, and that he got married just like fucking Jay-Z and Beyonce. They're just like, it's fake. It is not real. And so, my whole thing is, you're secretly gay, right? So we'll see what he says, but I think he's taunting me, trying to like make a point like, oh, I'm just his cat because I post up a lot of cat stuff, and it's like, no, that's not the case, and you're participating in this. You're claiming to be a Christian. You cannot actually be a Christian. If you see what's going on with me and you aren't speaking out, you aren't a Christian. And if I'm the one on the throne saying it, that's bad news for you. Because all that there is for people like that, and for all these fake, evil fucking people, is this burning torture forever. That's called the second death. This is what happens when you lie. This is a place for all these liars. Is it do I care that people are gay? I really don't care. I care that you're liars. I care that you're false, and that's hurting people. Why? Because I see all over the place someone with enough truth bringing that truth to bear, and pointing out the lies, like all the stuff that's going on in the Middle East. I would even say it has less to do with the religion, more that these wealthy terrorists of Hamas and stuff, like the people who actually run it, it's just in the same way that, like, my dad's a Vietnam vet. Back in the day, it was old men sending young men to die, old rich men sending young men to die. That's the same thing that I see with these terrorist organizations. Old rich men sending young men to die for a cause, for a made up deity, Allah, which is a knockoff of Yahweh. Yahweh is a name, Allah is a title. A title directly from the Old Testament that just means deity. So I'm not going to get much more into that again, but that's not the point of this. I also want to say, like, here I made this point that, hey, there's going to be this like an outbreak of major tornadoes, and I'm holding this thing up because, hey, look, watch. These people want to use image communication to communicate it with me without speaking words. Okay, fine. I mean, I don't like it. I think it's evil. I think you're a bunch of rapists. I think this is my whole point. She could literally be God, Empress of all existence, but because she's doing this, she's just a rapist and going to be thrown into the burning lake along with the rest of her family because they're all participating. At this point, I can prove that, like, her pre-Ambrosio, Priscilla, and, like, her parents and shit, and her sister, they're participating too. It's a bunch of evil people. I don't even know, like, why the fuck they're doing this. I think they're getting paid. And it seems like my whole point with this is, like, what's worse than willingly being used as a rape trap to hurt me? That's what the third and fourth church in the book of Revelation are about, is that people are using women as traps. The idea of eating food sacrificed to idols, and then it says, so that they commit adultery. It's not speaking of food, it's using a euphemism, because in the Old Testament, food is used as a euphemism for sex, as well as drinking water, and certain other things related to eating and drinking are used as a euphemism for sex. Go read the Song of Songs. It could not be more obvious. Go read the Book of Proverbs. It could not be more obvious. Most pastors and stuff don't actually want to teach you what's in the Bible. Most rabbis don't actually know what's in the Bible. They would rather read the Talmud or something. And then most Muslims claim that they believe what it says in the Bible because it affirms it in the Quran, but then the Quran contradicts it. And the Quran was written 600 years after the final book of the Bible was written. So why you would listen to them at all, it doesn't make any sense. So what I'm saying, what it just says in the Bible, is very clear. It's a euphemism for sex, and that there's traps used on the one who's conquering at the seven churches of Asia, that would be me, Matthew Ray Wilkins, in order to hurt them. Because I believe that you can hurt people through their sexuality by using people that are connected to them or have been connected to them, like a parasite, like Venom, like Marvel's Venom, like it's some kind of alien symbiote from outer space. That's how I feel about Alessandra and Anja Ambrosio at this point, because Alessandra has used Anja Ambrosio at this point in that capacity. Prove me wrong, but people are dying over this, and I'm not seeing any change, and it's very obviously happening. Like, what are you? At some point, I just pull lightning from the sky. Like, you can clearly see it reacting, but at some point, I just have the power at my hand. What are you gonna fucking deny it then? Are you gonna pretend this isn't happening then? When like I'm just striking stuff at will with lightning? Are you gonna pretend then? Because everything that's happened before up to that point, which was clearly pointing to this going on, it will just be it's the reality. At this point, they can kind of pretend that it's not the reality. It's not going to work forever. Seems like we're waiting on an earthquake to happen, but we'll see. I mean, like, we'll see how this plays out. I'm as interested as everybody else. It seems like in the same way. Well, if you were the guy on the throne, wouldn't you know? I don't know. Why don't it seems like Jesus. The whole point of Jesus is to show that if Yahweh's in a person, Yahweh's not going to act in the way that people are going to expect him to act. Why? Because people pull traps on other people. People ambush other people. Like unit verbal ambush? Yeah, people ambush other people, right? In order to steal from them, in order to hurt them, in order to get what they want from them. If I were you, Alessandra, and I was tricked into forfeiting being the Queen of Queens, that would be the Empress. And if I'm the one on the throne, that would be, God Empress, essentially. To be a rape trap and human billboard, I'd be furious. Because the men, it seems like to me, the people that have used her have just used her for her eggs, for her beauty and for her eggs. They don't care about her. And it's like, I want to care. How can I when the reality is that she's fine with being used as eggs and for to use her children in a way to hurt me? Why would I be like? Why would I care? I can't care. If I want to make it through this, I can't care. Not to mention the infinite burning torture that you objectively deserve. That's called the second death in the Old Testament, reserved for Satan and his angels. And since she doesn't seem to be an angel of Yahweh, there's only one other option. That's an angel of Satan. Satan being a weak side character. Not the most powerful thing. He's more powerful than the average person. He's not more powerful than Matthew Ray Wilkins. He certainly is not more powerful than Jesus or Yahweh. So this is like, I would just be on the face of this. If I were her, I'd be embarrassed to be connected to those people. You have had so many chances to stop being an evil rapist and to make things right, but you won't stop. I love Alessandra and Anja Ambrosio-Wilkins. So part of this is like, which part of me is the real one? Do I love her or do I think she's a rapist? Well, they've attached me in a way that like I don't. I decided long ago they're the last. They're the last of anything that I'm ever gonna believe from women until I see an actual change that fixes this. Women, to me, at this point, speaking of Emily Ratajkowska, who had a kid, again, got into a relationship, had a kid with a dude. I'm pretty sure they're making child porn of all these kids that these celebrities are having. Like, if not, there needs to be a rift to split, because I think some of the other celebrities know what the fuck is going on. You need to speak out. This shit is not going to continue like this anymore. You understand that, right? The stuff that's going on with P. Diddy is just scratching the surface. It's just like with what happened with Jeffrey Epstein and stuff. Like my guess, with he has connections to Victoria's Secret. They literally killed him after putting me in jail, right? I was thrown into jail over this bullshit. That's what happens at the second church, which you have to go to jail or some form of guarding or watch on you in order to be the one conquering at the second church and get the crown of life. My guess is that whatever was going on with them, it the Victoria's Secret people were using these women in cooperation and coordination with people setting basically honeypot traps, which are rape traps. They're trying to make them into like spies or like espionage tools, and yet they're public figures. And if people are connected to them, it hurts those people who are watching. So whoever, like my guess, that's why Jeffrey Epstein was Epsteined or killed. If he's dead. But he definitely, is not in the position where he's a billionaire and whatever. And I would say this: if he isn't dead, he's going to be, right. All these people that it's been hinted to me that there are people who are dead that aren't really dead. Oh, they will be. There's a spot for them. I'll tell you this: there's infinite burning torture for them if they've been doing that. Just a guess, right? But it's been hinted. Okay, so, and I use this as like a tinted testament. Where do I express stuff like this? Where do I say, if this is going on, where do I engage this in a way that I can get it done? Well, in my private story and pictures in my phone, which I created, and I created it when I realized people are watching me regardless of whether I'm making this or not. So let me make a story to explain what's going on from my side, and also that I can keep a record for myself. Because it seems like a lot of this comes down to, I keep better records than most people realize. But at the same time, it's like, well, all the metadata to all this exists. So when people are flying around everywhere, one of the things that the YouTube wizards seem to be suggesting is like, yeah, there's paper trails on everything. It's digital paper trail, but there's paper trails on everything. Beyonce and Jay-Z and all these fucking idiots. Like, you don't think this shit is... My guess is it's being used to blackmail them currently to keep it going. I don't know why that the U.S. government is allowing this to happen, but y'all need to stop. There's a reason Lloyd Austin got cancer, and it's because I know they are aware of what's going on with me, and they're allowing it to happen. In the same way that the King of England and Kate and Olivia Munn got cancer. When I'm saying it's a cancerous situation, and people that seem to be in positions of authority and power that should be taking action to fix this, to these people who are supposed Christians and stuff like that, you aren't Christians. If you're allowing this to happen to me, you don't get to claim to be a Christian. You don't get to claim to follow Jesus or God. God is angry at you. Jesus is angry at you. It is obvious and for a reason, and a valid reason. And it should put the fear of God into you, Yahweh, the fear of the only God, the one true God, the supreme, the most high. Yah. Like I posted this thing, you know what I mean? And I'm just whatever. First of all, you can. I've never seen like over like the area in black is like suggesting that that's like a 70+% chance of there being a tornado within 25 miles. There's a reason. There's a bunch of tornadoes. I mean, it was just like set up like this. Like immediately after I posted this one, there's an outbreak in China. And like I said, when you go to my channel and it's like, hey, I made this video about there being extreme weather in China, and in like I said, I covered this, and I also talk about at a certain point, I believe I go look at Brazil, right? Let's see. Yeah, here. This is me looking at Brazil in this. And it's specifically the state that Alessandra Ambrosio's family lives in Brazil. So when we look at this and there's, like, we go back and there's, hey, severe tornadoes that rip through Oklahoma. Hey, that's where my family lives. My family, which should be speaking out on this, that I know is aware, and yet they're staying silent. I mean, it's fucking shameful, but, whatever. I'm not going to shame them. It doesn't seem like the shame is going to convince them to speak out and do something into my reality which ends this. Um, which they could. It like in the same way, all it takes is my mom to actually start engaging. Hey, why are people fucking with my son? And it's being allowed. But there's been a lot of effort to convince her that it's not happening and that whatever, that I'm crazy or something. And it's like, I'll just honestly, yeah, on the face of this, if I couldn't provide an assload of evidence, circumstantial or just direct, yeah, this might, it would be hard to believe. The fact that over how many years I've been proving this out, that in the least I got an assload of circumstantial evidence that at a certain point there's such a low probability that this is going to be a pattern like this, that these same people are going to keep popping up in these situations, that there is no way that it's not happening, right? A pattern of evidence, actually, a pattern of evidence over a long period of time, in my opinion, is more damning than like one very obvious non-circumstantial piece of evidence, because that could be something coincidental, right? Random, that coincides, right? But at a certain point, over and 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 over again, these people like being connected to this shit and this shit happening over and over is not going to be random. So here's tornadoes. So tornadoes, I talk about tornadoes. There's an outbreak here. You know what I mean? There's a severe outbreak in Oklahoma. There's tornadoes in Brazil. And then if you go up, there's tornadoes and like the biggest hail that I've ever seen in China. And they're just going through insane severe weather in China, which it's been hinted that maybe Alessandra Ambrosio is being used by, like, maybe the Victoria's Secret Angels or something are being used. Like, someone I believe has compromising material on these women and is using it, so like sex tapes and maybe sex tapes of their children or something, or whatever. And my guess is they've been used to like blackmail politicians and stuff, like what Epstein was doing. But then when it ran into my situation, I'm the guy on the throne of Yahweh, and there's literally a thing. The end is like, hey, these women are being used as traps, food sacrifice to idols, food sacrifice to worthless things, worthless men, worthless women, worthless. It could be animals or inanimate objects. Whatever it is, it's worthless. It's an idol. That's what an idol is. Something worthless. That's the biblical definition of an idol. That's why, it's an idol compared to a true God or deity. It's something worthless compared to something. If I have the spirit of Yahweh in me, if I'm the dude conquering at the 7 churches of Asia, there's value in that. There's real value. There's real power in that. There's not power in being a celebrity. You're just assholes with too much money and too much social proofing and social power and clout. That's not a real power. That's not real divinity. That's just clown ass bullshit. So anyway, like you look at what's gone on, like large tornado in Guangzhou, like again, the biggest hail, like this isn't even this, but there's hail like this, numerous instances of hail, like huge hail. This isn't even the best videos of it, but let's just look at some of this just real fast. Here in America, that kind of hail happens in like rural countrysides. Hey, look. I mean, it literally killed the chicken. I mean, look at how big that hail is. That's not even the biggest hail that I've seen in this stuff. Like, look at this hail. Look at this windstorm. At the same time that's going on, it's snowing in Mongolia, it looks like. And that there's record-breaking highs in southern China, right? While there's it's snowing in northern China. Hey, look, the lightning thing? Lightning. Tornadoes. I'm trying to find that. Here's hail going through an iron roof. This is some of the biggest hail I've ever seen. All these things are things that in the book of Revelation are clearly going on. Like, why do you think it repeatedly brings up hail, lightning, earthquakes? Very clearly, the stuff about the smoke coming out of the ground, I would suggest is volcanic. Like, but whatever. So, in the place that I talked about in the video, you very clearly see that there's stuff like that. Now, if you go to like this suggests it's a tornado, but I had to confirm through this is a YouTube video that I mean a YouTube channel that I watch.
Ainda é possível observar uma.
So according to him, it's if I translate, it says tornadoes and severe storms occur in southern Brazil. Hey, the state of that I believe again Alessandra Ambrosio and her family live in. Which, by the way, I'm gonna run the GFS real fast. Look at what this looks like. So this most recent 18Z run for this period. Watch this. If you know anything about this, just by the way, I think her family is from here, Eric Kim. There's also this place called No AI, which I'm suggesting. I mean, are there two Noahs? But even if there aren't, like, the suggestion here is that it's just like AI has used or something has again tricked. Some snaky thing has tricked Alessandra Ambrosio, and she's going along with it. I think because there's compromising material on her, right? And why? Because men are evil, and women are letting the men be evil. They aren't speaking up. Even if there's covens of witches, the witches are empowering the rapey fucking men, which is just like, God, you guys are so fucking pathetic, all of you. If not, end it. That wouldn't be pathetic. That would be brave and strong women. But you aren't. the women aren't strong, and the men are weak too. So it's just, Satan is a side character, a little snake that I step on its head and crush it. And it may have some venom that it envenoms me with, and that's going on with my leg. This is all symbolic, right? You got to realize a lot of the language that I'm using is symbolic on this stuff. Just watch this. That's like 14 days worth of there's like 16 days worth of just severe weather over this area, over the entire state, just going up and down. It's like fire hosing the entire state, right? And if we look at what that looks like, I'm going to run it one more time. And I'm going to suggest this is going on because Alessandra Ambrosio and her family are being used to mess with me, are being used to hurt me in a way that's really deep and personal, and that they should feel bad because they're evil people. Are they not? Why aren't they communicating with me? At any point, Alessandra Ambrosio could have flown here to Houston and cleared this up because she's clearly watching. It's not as if she's not, right? So what is it? What is it that is allowing this to happen still? What is preventing her from doing that? If that's something that she'd actually want to do is come clear this up and prove that she's not a rapist, evil woman who's let her children be used as rape traps and there's like child porn of her children. Come and explain either one way or the other. But my whole point is force them to come and engage with me. Force them to come and talk and at least have an interview with me. Because this stuff is going to continue to happen and only get more severe. And it might not all be at once. One of the things that Yahweh is extremely patient. And I've had to learn to be extremely patient during all this. But like at a certain point, y'all shouldn't be patient. Y'all shouldn't be allowing this to happen. You aren't going to stop Yahweh from doing anything that he's going to do. And when you try to stop me, Yahweh makes a point to you, right? So the point is, I've been wronged. I don't deserve to be wrong in the way I've been wronged. Something needs to make it up to me. Again, the US government probably should take action here. But whatever. Let's look at this. I would even say the Brazilian government should probably take some action. Now, this is the end of the run. That's a lot of. At this point, this is about where you can say that it's you're pretty assured that this is something like this is going to happen, right? Once you get to the end, you can't confirm it, but I'm going to say this: the stuff that's been going on in China, like it just looks like it's going to continue. In fact, if you go back over here, you can see, oh, hey, it's still showing this. It's still showing severe rainfall, severe weather. If we were to watch this, the composite reflectivity just over this area, just southern China is just in the same way that I'm talking about Brazil. It's just constant. It's like this is you get a little gap here, and then hey, more. Um, so anyway, and this is like what I'm showing here is by no means like this part isn't scientific. This is me saying, yo, Yahweh is angry. And it looks like using the tools that I have that are connected to the science that we have. Remember, science is knowledge. That's what it means. That's etymologically what it's talking about. Yahweh is all for knowledge, right? Wisdom, understanding, knowledge. These are things that Yahweh desires for humanity, especially for the good portion, well, for the people who are going to use it in like a Christian way, in a way that is not destructive and killing humanity, right? But you go to the end here. I mean, even over specifically where her family is from, it's just inundated. It's another one of these situations where it's giving zeros because it can't. It's triple zero. It's triple O. Is this like 007? It's triple O. Uh, it doesn't know what to do. You have to go up here. It's over 15 inches. It doesn't know what to do. So and over here, this is like 20. It starts going in reverse, and so here where it's like it looks like there's a gap, it's so high it doesn't know what to do. But if we even just go back to what's guaranteed in this area, and this isn't talking about the severity of the storms or the tornadoes or the wind or anything. This is just talking about the amount of rain. 10 inches over Porto Alegre. Uh, over Arakim, 4.5 inches, right? It like there aren't many places in the world that you see this severe severity of rainfall. I'll also say this, just to throw this up, it's not a severe rainfall percentage, but if we watch this, it looks like pretty severe storms over the Middle East for a bit here, at least in the next. This is like guaranteed almost because it's so close in the run. So I like when I see stuff like this over the Middle East, it generally means severe weather, high winds, lots of hail, tornadoes, flooding. So don't say I didn't warn you. Um, but yeah, so I'm tired of it, right? As we go back and we look over here, hey, look, more tornadoes. If I was to guess, I've never seen like there have been 2 days in a row where I've seen more tornado warnings than I've ever seen. I believe they said on the news on one of these, I think it's this one here, but maybe it's this one, that there have been more tornado warnings. Like the National Weather Service issued more tornado warnings this weekend than they ever have before. Like over 100. That's a significant amount of tornado warnings. A tornado watch means like, oh, the ingredients are in place. A tornado warning means there's a tornado. When it says here, these are radar indicated, it says the radar is showing that there's a tornado. That doesn't necessarily mean it's like it's not been observed, but the radar suggests there is a tornado there. So in any instance, more tornado warnings than ever before. So anyway, let me I'm done with that portion of this all. I like what I wanted to get over with this is that, hey, I'm being messed with. The way I can defend myself is I believe in Yahweh. Yahweh defends me. I believe Yahweh gives me his spirit to, like, if I say, then it happens. It manifests, especially if I believe it. The whole point of Christianity is, okay, you believe in Jesus. What Yahweh, what God is looking for is faith. And I have much faith, more faith than anybody that I know. More faith, probably that's why I'm the guy conquering at the seven churches of Asia. I have an absurd amount of faith. All of this seems to be a test of my faith. The issue is that people are doing it, not God. And the people that are doing it, God is going to judge you. And I'm going to say this: Yahweh is hurting you and the people you love most. He's giving them cancer. They're dying. We're supposed to be in a place where people don't die yet, and yet where people don't die, and we aren't there yet. Why? Something is allowing this to go on. I'm going to say this: something in the American government, the United States government, is allowing this game of abuse around me because it doesn't want to cede power that isn't theirs anyway to someone here in Texas that should reasonably be the king of Texas, king of the United States, king of the world. I don't understand how, other than they're bought off by foreign interests or some kind of deep state, which is not for the people. But every indication is what I just said. And this is the kind of thing that I'm talking about where it's like the use of Alessandra Ambrosio. She's an incredible, like, I think she's the most beautiful woman in the world. I think even at 43, she's more beautiful than any other woman that I've ever seen. It is not beautiful to use your body as a rape instrument to steal away to someone you're connected. I know that if I'm feeling like this and I'm in pain because of this, there has to be something inside her that is affecting her in a way. And I'm guessing, I mean, are they just drugging her out of her mind? Or like, are you just drugged out of your mind that you aren't engaging this reality in any reasonable way? And that you've used your children as like rape instruments to steal away my happiness? I need an answer. This is my whole point. I need some kind of answer. You're always going to make it a problem for everybody else until I get an answer. Until she's forced. Until they are forced. Her and Anja are forced to come and engage what they're doing and explain themselves, essentially. Bonus for me, they get to be my dogs. Does that sound insulting? They're insulting me every day. They're just doing it subversively. I'm not like that. When I go back in my right, this is how a coven of witches is abusive and stuff. So I'm engaging it head on. When the whole thing with Olivia Munn as Lady Deathstrike, and I'm trying to show that symbolically these women are using silence and then using their sexuality in disturbing and abusive ways in order to hurt me. What do I have to respond with? Well, to be honest, I do have this, right? And the suggestion is it isn't just localized. They want to turn this into the Monkey King, like, Goku thing. Why do you think Akira Toriyama died? They want to turn this into, like, the Monkey King legend, where it's just, oh, he's just a monkey that has power, like, local, like, slight weather manipulation power. It's like, Yahweh has infinite power over the entire planet. You pretending that I'm not connected to Yahweh is only to your own detriment. Yahweh's going to kill you like he killed Akira Toriyama. Immediately when Akira Toriyama went into my story and pictures and into my, like, some Dragon Ball Z stuff went into my library so that I could add it to mixes, music mixes and stuff, he died that night of a brain aneurysm. So that is something absolutely God controls. Maybe the Monkey King doesn't, but Yahweh is not the Monkey King. Yahweh is God. And insulting him, he will kill you. And here in America, I have the right to religiously believe that. That's my constitutional right. And the fact that very clearly a group of celebrities is harassing and hurting me, and that people around me have lied to throw me in jail here, you are out of your fucking minds to think Yahweh isn't going to punish each and every one of you. Can I do that? Only if I'm Yahweh. Can Yahweh do that? Absolutely. So the spirit of Yahweh is at work here. Because I'm here in Houston. I'm just at my house playing video games. I mean, that's part of my point is I just want to be a relatively normal person, you know what I mean? And I'd like a relatively normal relationship life and sex life and stuff like that. I can't do that when there's a group of people watching me and setting traps. And like any woman that I'm ever gonna like be attached to, the whole point is, well, they're just gonna pay that woman to be used as some kind of weapon. They're gonna give her money or clout or whatever, in the same way they're doing with Alessandra Ambrosio, in the same way they're doing with Beyonce and whatever. It's like this feels like Alessandra Ambrosio is being used as like a boss in a video game, right? And I had to beat her like she's literally laughing octopus, which, well, when you go here into my mixes and stuff, because this is one of the ways that I can defend myself is using art and music. One of these mixes has a battle with Laughing Octopus in it, and I made this around the time I think she had her son, which, like, I think she had her son specifically. It's like Death Stranding. Like, again, someone paid her to use her eggs to, like, attack out at me. And it isn't working, and it's only brought it shined the sun on the situation. The literal sun is shining on the situation. And it's turned her into from the most beautiful woman in the world to an evil rapist whore of a woman. If that's not the case, prove me wrong. They can't. Not that I can see, and they aren't trying. She's 100% willing to be a rape billboard. I don't understand how Omega doesn't realize, like, this is bad for your brand. Hey, Omega, it's a Bible word, right? Omega, the last. And as I decided, her and Anja are the last. I will never let this happen again. And so using rape traps against me is not going to work. Using celebrity women against me, that shit is definitely not going to work. My whole point with this is, hey, Arena Sheikh, Ray-Ban, Ray being my dad or my middle name. Hey, the ban will be lifted. That's from the Old Testament. Hey, the ban will be lifted. That's from the New Testament. What do you think this ban is? Seems like they're trying to ban Yahweh, and Yahweh is not happy. Yahweh is a spirit. But if Yahweh chooses to put that spirit in a person, that's the story of Christianity. So that each and every Christian should have that spirit. I don't see much of that spirit in anybody other than the man in the mirror. I don't just see the spirit, I see the one conquering at the seven churches of Asia in the man in the mirror, the one on the throne. But that's my belief. That's why I would be on the throne. And I have the right to believe that here in America. This isn't an Islamic caliphate, even though it seems like these people who've lost their mind are trying to, like, make that happen. Part of this whole thing is I'm pretty sure Anja Ambrosio was, like, cast and couched into my reality. Like, someone like Harvey Weinsteined her, and Alessandra allowed it to happen. Which, it's very difficult. Part of my point here is, like, it's very difficult to look at this woman that I'm very attracted to and that I've been connected to. Like, her vagina is straight up on that dude. And the whole watch thing is watch. And it's like, why GQ? Why are you using these women to do this to me? Why does it seem like a bunch of gay men also are using these women in an abusive fashion towards me? It feels like also, like, hey, Anja Ambrosio wants to be a little Harley Quinn here. Okay. Well, it looks like, does that say 2013? Because that looks like what's 2013. Does that say octopus there? So when I'm talking about, again, Alessandra Ambrosio as laughing octopus, it seems like this is a pretty public spectacle, and y'all have already lost. And you're just acting like rapist shitheads now. I'm fucking tired of it. It's hurting me. It's hurting my family. You need to stop. Yahweh will come at your family. The spirit of Yahweh. Am I saying that as Matt Wilkins? I think Yahweh's going to defend me. I think the point is it's going on around me, but this Yahweh and the spirit of Yahweh. And, like, I'm going to say this. If Alessandra Ambrosio is Jezebel, it says very clearly, I'm going to kill your kids for what you've done. That you've used them as sex weapons, essentially, as rape traps. that there's child porn of them. So is that what's going on, Alessandra Ambrosio? I need some kind of answer around this. And since this is a public thing, yeah, it seems like it. And I'm also going to say she looks very pregnant. It's almost like there's probably more than one child in her stomach. Like there's two Noahs or something. Hmm. No AI? Is that what the two watches are? I don't know. Just a guess. At this point, I don't put anything past these rapey shitheads of people. Um. Hey, watch. You know the whole point of this is like the reason they're doing she's doing the Omega thing is it's to be like watch, right? Because it's she's trying to say with as I've described numerous times, like when I'm like, oh, I'm just chilling here. What do you mean a secret lab? I have no clue what you're talking about, right? And it literally says secret lab next to my head, right? In the same way that she's doing like with Omega, and she's specifically covering egg, like, oh, she's just eggs. She's just my eggs that people have stolen my eggs from me. Because you're connected to like as a woman, you're connected to a man, right? I think the whole like something has outfitted me because have you ever heard the things where it's like, oh man, like I saw something where it's like talking about Tom Holland and having to watch Zendaya get like on that trailer where there's I think he's gay too. I think that a bunch of these people are just fucking pretending or they're bi. This is like the thing that I was talking about with Travis Scott and whatever. I mean, he's probably bi, but for sure Timothy Chalamet is gay or whatever or bi, and it's just like again, am I judging you for that or that you're using these women who've specifically made evil points to me? You're allowing them to use you, or you're just being the thing that's making points to me through these women, and it's evil and it's rapey and it needs to end. Don't lie about who you are. If you're gay, don't lie about it. Here in America, here in a Christian place, you aren't going to be beheaded for it. There might be judgmental assholes, right? But Christians aren't called to kill you. In Palestine, they'll kill you for that. Palestine, it's Israel. In Israel, they won't kill you for that. There's gay pride in Israel. Congrats to all these people empowering that bullshit where it's like, you know, queers for Palestine. It's like they'll kill you. Why are you empowering this? You should be ashamed. Like why people like my thing is like I think they're getting paid off. I think there's so much oil money being thrown at this situation, but at a certain point, it's just like, yo, you guys are unbelievable. It's hard to even trust you, right? If you're empowering something where they're willing to kill you in those places. But whatever. That's a different story for a different day. I'm going to end this because we're an hour and something in, and I didn't really want this to go that long. I just wanted this to be, hey, I said specifically here what it says, and that, hey, it's pissing me off that they're doing this, right? And then, hey, there was tornadoes in China, in the place where I had already recently made a video about there being extreme weather. And then, hey, in America. Oh, wait, these aren't in America. That's more in China. There was tornadoes in multiple cities in China. Like, again, deadly tornadoes. This says at least 5 fatalities, 31 injuries. But, it could be much worse. I think Yahweh is pretty graceful that he hasn't made things much worse. Though, again, the book of Revelation, you get to the end and it does get much worse. It does get extreme. It does look like 4 billion people plus die in the book of Revelation. And I'm going to say this. If you don't want to be one of those people, you better be on my side, right? Because I'm the one saying, hey, we're close. We are close. The fact that the whole thing about the third temple, it looks to me like any day now they're going to start, if they kill those red heifers, they can immediately start sacrificing again, and the sacrifices can immediately end again. So just FYI. Once that happens, we're there. I don't even think we need to get there. I think it can be a spiritual reality, but once the physical reality is that, hey, there's a third temple or the sacrifices have started and been stopped again, that's it. We're done. They're like, because you can't deny it at that point. So yeah, okay. Also, here's this kind of stuff. When I'm using art to express myself, like, my point with this is like, they kept me in the dark. They're trying to keep me in the dark, right? But it definitely looks like, it doesn't look like I'm in the dark. It looks like a whole bunch of musicians are either trying to make points to me and I'm like reflecting it back in a way that only helps me, or they're just helping me outright, which in that case, cool, thank you. Yahweh, nothing gets past Yahweh as far as like what's going on if you're being helpful or if you're being hurtful. Nothing gets past Yahweh. Um, and it even looks like Andra's looking up at where it's "Get Out of My Head" Joker remix because it's like I just want them out of my head. They're being used in this capacity. I would even say like, look at her eyes. Looks like one is orange or yellow and one is green. Oh hey, what kind of art am I putting above it? Right? One is orange or yellow. One is green. But there's plenty of art in my story and pictures, which again seems to be like making the point like, what am I, some kind of superhero here? Am I Magneto? These are kind of me making a joke out of it because it's like, oh, I'm just a superhero, I'm just a Marvel character. Even if I'm just a Marvel character, it seems like I could have multiple personalities like Moon Knight and have each one of them have like the powers of whatever, or be like Apocalypse or something. But again, that's just me making jokes and shit out of like a very stressful, evil situation that I've found myself in. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. Ah, that's how this song goes. Anyway, trying to make light out of an evil situation that I find myself in. So I'll even say this: if you're like, "Well, prove that they've been used like this to do this to you." All right, I mean, you can go to Alessandra Ambrosio and Anja Ambrosio. Are they a trap or my dogs? And then after I make this, you can go to Beyonce and Jay Z, and or you can go to Beyonce and Fernanda Mota, or you can go to or this one or whatever. I mean, at this point, like once we get to about here in this, right? Probably after I made the James Samuel as Carl Mordo video. After that happened, it just seemed like their whole illusion fell apart, right? And like even the YouTube witches and wizards are looking at these people like, y'all really fucked up on this one. This dude Matt has more power than you realize. Though Light Shield doesn't seem to get that here. But whatever. I'm not going to just stress on any one of these YouTube spiritualists, spiritists, or whatever the fuck. She's receiving the same humiliation you give her. She's having a change of. I don't care. I don't care what she's having a change of. I just want to play Call of Duty and Counter Strike and like play soccer and enjoy my. I want a normal, like sex life and relationship. Or how about this? I want my dogs because it looks like again, she just changed it because this is like it's like a plausibly deniable way when these people are communicating because they're all watching me and like they don't have to like anything that I say, they know I'm looking back, right? But at the same time, I'm not going to stop looking until I win. It's a marathon. So it's like one of us is going to die out of like the weight of the situation, and it ain't going to be me. The weight of the evil that's been brought on my head, it ain't going to be me, right? The fact that here, like, I make the Maggie Moon mix, and all of a sudden Beyonce and Jay Z are over there. I bring this up, and then Beyonce is and Fernanda Mota seem to be making points about Chloe, Fernanda's daughter. I mean, at some point, why is the government allowing these people to be abusive towards me? It's killing people here in America. People are dying over this situation because you're allowing abuse around me. And they're dying in a way only God. They're acts of God. It's not acts of nature, it's supernatural power over nature. And some of it, again, it seems like this is a public thing, but Yahweh doesn't care what the public about the public in this situation because the public ain't supporting me. You know what I mean? If they are, they aren't using their words to support me. They aren't using their actions to support me. They're just watching the situation and, playing part in this subtly hint at what's going on. All right, this is a cancerous situation. People are going to start dropping like flies. That's not me just saying shit. That's not whatever. That is the fact. That is the reality. People are going to start dying over this at such an extreme rate in only a way that God, Yahweh, could do. I'm not threatening anybody with my own actions. I don't have a weapon, right? I have airsoft guns. Get shot by a BB. Ow, this stings a little bit. But I'm not threatening people with violence with my hands. I'm not threatening people with what I'm saying Yahweh is my defense. God is my defense, and if you are coming at me, Yahweh is going to deal with you. Does that make sense? Should. So I guess we've come to the point where let me make the screenshot here or something. Is this the one that I want to do? Get out my head. You mean nothing to me, nothing to me. Is that the case? No, clearly. I don't even know these people in person. They seem to be so focused on me, though. It's like, well, they clearly know who I am. They wouldn't make points like this over and over and over and over again if they weren't. Oh, and I guess if you're wondering why I have this picture of my shoes here, because I wore these kind of shoes for like years, literally years. I've only recently, within like the last little bit of time, changed, but I wear Velcro shoes. Why? I'm an American. I have the right to choose and be free. I don't live in communist China. Uh, and I like Velcro shoes, specifically the triple strap Velcro shoes. Though now I have one strap. You know, why do I have this? Because what kind of shoes? Oh, it looks like he's wearing the exact same shoes that I'm like. It literally, those are the shoes that I'm wearing. This movie came out after I started wearing, wearing, or after these are the shoes that I wore for years. It seemed like a hint that it was towards me. It's Assassin's Creed. I think he's in some kind of thing, and he's passing his time making art. Hey, it seems like what's going on with me, except he's also Magneto and X-Men. So I'm making points like this is my form of art where it's like all this stuff is connected. This is why they use the same actors from movie to movie is to like, hey, this actor is accruing these kind of like this is what this actor stands for. Michael Fassbender seems to stand for killing Nazis, being destroying Auschwitz, being an assassin. Am I John Wick now? I think that's the whole point of John Wick. Yeah, I mean, I think I've been John Wick, but okay. Except I don't use my hands. I don't use whatever. I use spirit. I use the power of Yahweh. But this is where I'm gonna end this. So let me just make this. I mean, actually, like that's where the thumbnail's gonna be, and then that's it. So if you don't like what I'm saying, don't listen. The issue is that you're all listening, and you shouldn't be. People shouldn't be watching my private reality. People shouldn't be trying to express distressing concepts and points to me about women's sexuality into my private reality. All these women should feel ashamed and just like why am I your enemy? I don't think I'm actually your enemy. I think that the men who are your enemy, who are paying you to be rapey shitheads towards me or who have compromising stuff on you, like my whole point with Alessandra Ambrosio and the compromising stuff is if there's like sex tapes or something or they're using compromising stuff on you, if you come out around me, it's like Team Fortress. If you get here, the game is over. Their whole thing will collapse. to any of these women that are participating in this. The whole thing collapses as soon as you step here into Houston and you get on this camera and engage. Why? Because it's not like there isn't a protection around me. I can clearly see the people around me playing part in it too. And pretending that they aren't. I am very rooted here. That's part of the issue is that they hit me in the part that wasn't rooted, so on my right side, but my left side is very strong. So, Alessandra, Anja, are you guys actually going to engage us? People are dying over the fact that you're being used to harass and abuse me. And by abuse, I mean it's mentally mental harassment and distress. The fact that it's psychosomatically um what am I trying to say? Expressing or like showing itself as the thing that seems to be talked about in the book of Revelation should also just be an example or be like a point to people. Don't you should not let this be happening to Matt because it's not good for anybody who's allowing it to happen. There has to be a power structure allowing this to happen. But there's also a power structure watching this. And I'm gonna argue the power structure connected to Yahweh much more powerful. It doesn't even have to have as much resources. It's just Yahweh is God actually. A bunch of witches and wizards trying to steal away the power of God or steal away reality is never going to work. You guys look like idiots. Again, even the YouTube wizards and witches are like, when they're pulling tarot cards, it's all coming in my favor, out of your favor. Why? Because, in the Old Testament, casting lots is a form of divination, much like tarot or whatever. Who do you think controls that? Why do you think Yahweh had people cast lots? Because that's something he controls. I mean, like, that seems obvious to me. But again, even the wizards very clearly are saying, y'all are being watched. Y'all are being watched by the authorities. I think some of these people are in positions of power in the authorities, but like again, as I've said, if it's the police, what Yahweh's name is literally IA. It's why it's Hallelujah and it's IA in Greek. To the police. And I'll say this: looking in a mirror, that's AI. Am I AI? No, I think probably I'm like Iron Man. That would be the rod of iron from the Fourth Church thing. Do I have a suit that I'm wearing? Maybe kind of like the Blue Beetle. It's not like around me, but it's like my reality. But in any instance, these are just symbolic things to try to make a point that something's going on. It's very clearly happening. And, it needs, whatever's going on that's against me needs to stop. And to me, the thing that is pissing me off, which is pissing Yahweh off, is Alessandra and Anja Ambrosio. Whatever has happened with them, whether there's child porn of Anja and Noah, whether there's compromising material of Alessandra that's been used, like, the guy who ran all of it, all the whole Victoria's Secret thing fell apart when this all started around me, around 2018, right? When I was doing the YoTV stuff. And then Jeffrey Epstein, who had connections to like Ed Razek and the guy who owns L Brands or whatever. Hold on. This guy. My guess is that they had been using the angels, right? We go down. My guess is that they have been using a number of these women as honeypots or uh, as like they've weaponized their sexuality. I mean, do I have to go back and show the whole thing where
Hi, we are the Seraphim.
Sup?
You know,
Hi. Uh, yeah, I know that you call yourself the Seraphim, which are the throne guardians of Yahweh. You don't seem like the Seraphim because if I'm on the throne of Yahweh and you are acting in a way against me, Lava Girl, you aren't Seraphim. You're like rapey angels for a bunch of rapist fucking men. Which again, like Jeffrey Epstein has connections to these people. You know what I mean? Like to Victoria's Secret. So my guess is that there was and it ended 2018 when all this shit kicked off, and then Jeffrey Epstein was Epstein because I think it was coming out that hey, intelligence agencies have been using beautiful like celebrities and models as honeypots to compromise people. If that's the case, this needs to come out publicly and end. The whole shit with P. Diddy is not enough to end all this. All these people who are involved, this shit needs to end. And what I can see is, yeah, it very clearly, even the witches and wizards, the public knows to some degree what's going on, but it needs to be brought out all the way what's going on. The fact that this dude is like, he seems very clearly like there's allegations against him. You know, my guess is all these people were doing evil shit that they shouldn't be connected to Jeffrey Epstein or whatever the fuck. So the Seraphim, right? So when I made this in 2017, how old is this? Oh, 2015. Okay. What does this say? A serpent, fiery serpent, poisonous, seraphim. Oh, hey, the seraphim, right? I mean, burning, poisonous serpents. So I think what's happened is someone was using them and they struck me with like this is like the naga, the strike on the thigh from. Okay, so here you have Genesis 32. If you want to read about the strike on the thigh, this is where Jacob gets turned into Israel. Israel means, well, he will rule. It means he will rule as a prince of God or something like that. I mean, close enough. He will rule as God. He will rule as a prince of God in the New Testament. That's what it says. That's like the Greek definition. Here you have a virtuous woman is a crown to her husband, but she that maketh ashamed, right? Ashamed, boosh. You can see with the words, we're doing a quick dive. Is a rot in his bones, right? In the bones, substance, self, probably like the marrow, right? Okay, so you go here and the word is rottenness, rot, and like I think something has used these women to strike me. And let's look at some of these other words real fast. A strike on the thigh, and it was out of joint. To strike, to naga, that's like a serpent deity in Asia. To touch, to come upon, to plague someone. The thigh, Yurik, Yurik, and Yaka, IQA, dislocated, be alienated, to be executed. So something did this to me a long time ago, and I'm going to suggest this when it says that from 1995 to 1998, when I make the whole Yoda mix here, and you can see something's been going on since I've been making points about something since 1996, literally hand in the concrete. It should tell you, and this again, this is how I'm using art to like defend myself and try to protect myself, and these evil, rapey fucking people who are using their sexuality, who are using these women. Like, what are you the Seraphim for, Adriana Lima? Some kind of rape throne? I mean, actually, Whose throne? Because it doesn't seem to be mine. Because if it was, you would listen to me. You would be here. So whose rape throne are you guys empowering? Taylor Hill? I don't know, other lady. Bahati Prinsloo. Taylor Hill. Who are you doing this for? Or Adriana? Oh, what's going on? You know? Hey, look, this is the part where he talks about the seraphim. The seraphim. They're like in the year of Uzziah, I saw Yahweh sitting upon a throne. Hey, is that the throne that you get to sit on if you're the one conquering at the seven churches of Asia? It would seem like it, because that's the throne that Jesus is sitting on, right? I mean, he's also sitting on the throne of David, but the throne of David is the throne of the Most High, and Yahweh is the Most High, and okay, and if Jesus is Yahweh and he's Yahweh sitting on the throne of David, I mean, it's okay, it's the throne of Yahweh. So Yahweh Zavot, that's a female army. It's probably because 144,000 virgins is an army of women. That's what Zion is. Zion is not what modern day Jerusalem or Israel is. When they're talking about Zionists, that's just a bunch of like Islamic bullshit what they're spewing out about Zionism and stuff like that. They just don't want. The reason they don't even want Israel to exist in the first place is because they don't have any claim to the temple complex, and Islam is completely disproven by the Bible. I mean, it's just a clear knockoff. Yahweh is removed. Allah, which is another title that can mean any deity, is then put in the place of a specific name. So you remove the name of the person for a title. It's much like Harry Potter, where you have a bunch of witches and wizards. They don't want you to say the name Yahweh or Voldemort. They want you to say the wizard or some shit like that. Yahweh is not Voldemort, but it makes sense as far as like, oh, it's a bunch of idiots who just think that you're gonna get rid of Yahweh by not saying his name. So, but yeah, here's the seraphim, right? And yeah, okay. So what are they talking about being the seraphim? Whose throne are you guarding? If it's mine, why aren't you here? If it's Satan's, well, then that makes a lot of sense, actually. But Satan is a side character that gets lava tossed along with all his angels, so I wouldn't want to be. Oh, is that why you're Lava Girl? Yeah, that's why she's Lava Girl. But it's not just lava tossed. You get burning, tortured, double. Like, you get the second death. And you're going to be exposed. I mean, basically what I'm doing is exposing you're just a bunch of rapey women that have used your sexuality as abuse vehicles for a bunch of rapist men. The same men you claim to be against are using these women, are using you. So, anyway. And the one that specifically seems most aimed at me and the one that bothers me the most is Alessandra Ambrosio. For the most part, she's the one. She's the one that it beyond pisses me off that she's being used in this capacity. It's literally the end of the Bible that she's being used in this capacity to hurt me like this. So if you want this stuff with the storms and violent weather to end and to stop hurting people, you need to make sure she gets here. If you have to force her, I would force her. If you're the government and you're saying it is very clear there's a pattern of evidence that is long enough to show that y'all harassing Matt is causing death, and like I can prove out 500 billion, so $500 billion worth of damage in storm activity since this started in 2017, 2018, since this started in a way where I'm making it very obvious this is going on in my reality and I want it to end. That was 2017, 2018. And when they started using Stephanie Houston to like whatever fuck with me. And hey, look, she's another one of these where her right eye seems to be the dominant eye. It's like a bunch of people, right-eyed people, are looking me in the left eye. Hey, look, it's Ashton Kutcher. Is there some evil shit that he's done? I mean, I don't put it past any of these celebrities. And if so, I mean, then some evil's gonna befall him. That's just the reality. But I'm tired of her using her kids, her using whatever to like hurt me and abuse me. Because it's very clearly going on. At least at this point, it's very clearly going on. And it's not like she's in a relationship with their father, you know what I mean? So it's not like she's doing anything better. Hey, Double Duchess, I wonder what that's about. Oh, she's a Bond girl. Oh, okay, that's the Octopussy thing. Okay. Ha. Oh, Karen. Mayron. Oh, I'm Mayron? Oh, really? You're gonna allow me to... Yahweh's gonna fucking kill so many people over this kind of rapey bullshit. And embarrass all of you for making rapey evil points to me. Oh, is she a wolf with Kanye West? Kanye West just a gay dude that's being used to abuse a bunch of, like... Whoever would listen to his music at this point, his music isn't even good anymore. I mean, like... I'm just fucking tired of all this shit. People are going to be thrown in a burning lake over this. So, whatever has happened, seems to me like it's about to end. And whatever celebrities are involved, everything is going to be taken from you. And like the witches and wizards on the YouTube, like you can go to my channel, you can see in a number of these videos, y'all are going to jail or worse. Enough pressure and enough public attention is going to be put on people that are going to have to make some kind of action to remedy this situation around me. And like I'm saying, Alessandra Ambrosio ain't doing anything but being a rape billboard for a bunch of companies. I don't know why Omega would be okay with her being a stewardess of their brand, or anybody. I don't know why anybody would allow these women to be connected to their brands at all if they're being, seraphim for a rape throne. If they're my seraphim, then send me all the angels. They're all my angels then, right? You get that? All the eggs. They're all my eggs, and people are trying to just steal my eggs from me. That's what this has literally turned into. Is that what I want it to be? No. It's like literally a sickening reality that I have to let. And I think when I was a kid, I can remember having to think like this because something was attacking me from my childhood like this. I don't want it to be like this. I want a better reality. But currently, I don't have enough power in the human world. That's what I mean, the human world, to affect this and to change it. I have enough power in the supernatural world, but at this point, lots of people have gotten hurt and lots of money has been spent on it. It's not like I don't have power. It's just not earthly power. Because that's what Satan has snaked away. Satan is the Lord of the age. The whole point is, Satan's like at the top of the human pyramid, essentially. But the human pyramid is nothing to Yahweh. Nothing to God, actually. Satan's a knockoff. Obviously, if he has a bunch of seraphim, if some rapey fucking thing has a bunch of seraphim, yeah, whatever. So whatever government or whatever is using these women, whatever non-state actor, you're dead. You're like, this is over. Anyway, Genesis 32, strike on the thigh. The thigh is the same word. So if you go here and there's the name King of Kings and Lord of Lords is written on the thigh. This says Miron, but it's Mayros, right? That's what Mayros. Oh, is that why? Oh. So when it says Karen Mayron, right? Karen Thigh. And then you go, and this word is Mayros, or can you see this? I'm just making sure. I have to move myself from this. Right? Thigh, Mayron. Karen Mayron. Oh, so she's probably the thing that has struck me on the thigh, and it's hurting me, it's hurting my mom, it's hurting my dad, which has been my point. I would not have any issue with her and her family, but All I can see is that they're being used to hurt me. Or they have been used to hurt me. And it needs to end. Huh. The crazy part is I didn't do anything to fucking hurt these. I didn't do anything to bring this on myself. I exist. By the end of this, most of these people won't, other than in burning torture forever. And they deserve it. Is that what I want for Alessandra Ambrosio? At this point, if this shit ends, if that's how it has to end, yeah, get this shit over this. Throw her in the burning lake. Anyway, that's it. Oh, and by the way, the word meros in Hebrew, yarek, this is what that is. So the strike on the thigh thing. That's why my whole point has been they executed me using a form of, they took a woman that's connected to me, or they connected her to me, and then they've used her shameful, abusive sexuality. It's hard to look at such a beautiful woman, or the whole point of like the other angels. It's hard to look at these beautiful women who just have no awareness of how hurtful their sexuality is and how abusive and evil it is to use your sexuality like that for the same rapey fucking men that all these women complain about, the patriarchy. They are agents of the patriarchy. And not even not the godly patriarchy, not Yahweh's patriarchy, but the rapey, evil, snaky fucking like sorcerer patriarchy. The one that they bitch about all the time. So when I'm calling Emily Radakovska, or whoever, all these women, when I'm calling them out for just being fucking hypocrites, that's why. Okay. I'm over it. I'm done with this video. I added another 30 minutes on. I didn't need to. So hopefully this clears some stuff up. I mean, I feel like most of it is shit I've already said before. In fact, because it is. But the whole part about, hey, what happened this weekend with the historic outbreak of tornadoes. With the historic outbreak of tornado. God damn it. With this historic outbreak of tornadoes, right? I want to see whoever's using these women in this capacity. I want them dead. For the sake of everybody, whoever's using the Victoria's Secret Angels as rape traps, specifically Alessandra and Anja Ambrosio. And Yahweh controls the afterlife. They get thrown into an infinite burning torture. And at this point, I want that for Alessandra and for Anja, because they're just fucking rapists. She turned her daughter into a rapist too. If not, prove it to me. Prove that's not what you've done. But I don't think they can, because that's what they've done. So, does that suck? Yeah, it does. Anyway, that's the end of this video. I'd like to see some change, because this is only going to get worse for everybody until there is. So, all right. Have a blessed one. I'll catch you next time. I'm going to end this at 1:45. We got 10 seconds. Do I have anything else to say? Not really. If Alessandra and Anja Ambrosio are my dogs, why aren't my dogs here with me? Exactly. All right. Anyway, have a blessed one. Later. Yeah.